Hey.
Welcome. What is this, episode 2, Courtney?
It's episode 2.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Y'all, we made it. We came back, and you came back. So that
Right.
should be a good sign, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You could have chose any other podcast to listen to, but you
Yes.
chose Young, Bold, and Free. So we thank y'all so much. And thank you all so much for the support from the first episode, which went really, really well. So we appreciate all the love and support. And we thank y'all again for joining us for episode number 2.
Episode number 2. Yes, thank y'all for the support, like Courtney mentioned. And speaking of that support, we forgot to do something on the last episode, and we want to make sure that we do it on this episode. We definitely want to do some shout outs right now. Shout out to all the people that help us get to where we are. So that intro you listened to, shout out to Courtney McGowan for giving us that dope intro. I love it.
Young,
Maybe I'm just biased, but it's Young, Bold, and Free. So hey, I'm just letting you know. And Courtney, tell them about the other people we're shouting out on this.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to shout out Jameson Glover, who definitely created our dope design. Me and him actually worked together back in Dothan, Alabama with WDHN. So thank you so much, Jameson. And another special shout out to Allison Brittany Brown, also known as Allie B. Her podcast, Shades of Brown. It's also a up-and-coming podcast, but she's given us a lot of insight on some things that we should do, and it definitely been encouraging. So thank you, Allie B. Thank you, Courtney McGowan, and thank you, Jameson, for all your help in us getting to this point. And we are really, really appreciate it. And thank y'all also for being young, bold, and free.
Yes. All right. I forgot to tell y'all, sorry about that. I forgot to tell y'all, we reached like 50 likes on our Facebook page.
Yes.
So that means we need 50,000 more. So we are grateful for the 50, but make sure you all like our page if you haven't yet. On Facebook is at Young, Bold, and Free. And of course on Instagram, same thing, at Young, Bold, and Free. We want y'all to like all of our pages there and subscribe to all of our other outlets that we have. We'll keep you updated on our Facebook and Instagram page. So once you see it, go click the like button and make sure that you tune in.
Definitely. We want y'all to, connect with us, especially out today's episode. We definitely want to hear back from you all. Because today's episode is definitely going to be a continuation, probably for multiple episodes. So
maybe
definitely,
so,
yeah, definitely. So you definitely want y'all to stay connected with us, Young, Bold, and Free, just like Ashley said. And we got to have some cool things coming. And like we said before, thank y'all so much for the support so far on this journey.
Yeah. So Courtney, what's going on with you?
Ooh, what's going on with me? Of course, like always, COVID-19, still covering it. Still still number one story right now on the globe, with everything going on. But here in Shreveport, in my area, we also have been dealing with a lot of storms lately. I had to actually a crazy story. I actually had to go to Idabel, Oklahoma on Wednesday of last week. That is, I honestly kind of know how to explain it, but I don't know how to explain it. So it is like going kind of toward Dallas, but not going kind of toward Dallas. It's 2 hours away from Shreveport, and we have viewers that do watch in Idabel, Oklahoma. So I spent most of my day in Idabel. Thank God nothing crazy happened in Idabel while I was down there. But yeah, we've been dealing with storms. We also had storms that were really bad on this past Friday here in our area. I mean, we had to deal with a lot of, damaging hail, the houses. So, and then of course, structure debris. But thank God no one was injured. No one lost a life. So that was a good thing, because especially with all this going on with the coronavirus, with a storm, you definitely don't want to lose more lives with that. So, yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Other than that, just trying to, stay focused most of all. But it's been a busy period for many of us in news, and y'all continue to keep us in your prayers. But yeah, it's been really, really busy. But it was a different. I guess I wouldn't say it was a good difference, but it was a different take because I had to deal with storms instead of COVID-19 this past week. But yeah, Ashley, what's been going on with you?
Yeah, I'm here, Courtney. I'll say that. That's what's going on with me. To be quite honest, I am a bit tired.
You honest.
It has been it's been a week and it's only Monday. So that definitely tells you what's going on with me. This weekend I have been full of homework, and last week I have just been, with COVID-19 being the topic for a lot of us with work, everything is virtual now. And so I read an article about Zoom fatigue, and I honestly feel like I have that because everyone wants to do a Zoom meeting, and I've been taking some classes via Zoom, and because of that I feel like I'm always having to be on, like on. I have to be mindful of how people are looking at me, like I have to make sure I look attentive, because if I don't, I mean, obviously everyone else can see you, and sometimes I can put my screen on mute for the audio, but they still have to see me. So I've been tired from all of that, and then it's just moving straight into this week. So all of that it's really got to me, and yeah, I am just tired, y'all. So just pray for me that I get some strength. But I did find something on Facebook that really, it helped me. It kind of spoke to me a little bit, and I wanted to share it with y'all. So what I saw was a post that says, "You're only unproductive by the standards of the world we live in 2 months ago. And that world is gone now."
Wow.
So if you think about that, to me, it's like we're still trying to live up to these standards of a totally different world. We're in a new thing. Even when we get back to normal, when the states open back up and everything like that, it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same as it was before. The world as we know it now is gone. So I was thinking, from that post, one thing that really, really stood out to me was that word standard. And that's just kind of something that has been sticking with me for a while. Just standard, like everyone has a standard, etiquette, like all these articles I've been seeing at work has been etiquette of working from home. This is what you need to do, and you may make sure you still do X, Y, and Z. But honestly, I just want to breathe. I don't want to have to follow anybody's standards, and there's just so many expectations that right now I just want to do nothing.
Right. Hey, I understand. I totally understand. And when you say you zoomed out, I'm about zoomed out too. I have done so many Zoom meetings, Zoom interviews. So I'm almost to the point where I feel like Zoom needs to give me a check, because I've done enough on Zoom. I need a check. I need the
official.
Right. I need the market for them and be like, I'm a marketer for Zoom. It's something like that,
Zoom. This is how you lead Zoom.
Exactly. But you said something, and it goes right into our discussion today, which are our sessions on expectations and how the standard are changing as far as that. But looking back at expectations, even before we entered into this, people have all type of expectations, as far as expectations at work, expectations in your personal life, and expectations in your spiritual life. But what I guess the thing that we really kind of want to hit on today is what happens when we don't meet up to those expectations that maybe people have, because we have so many expectations like that people put on us that think that, you know, we should be successful, you know, as far as expectations, you know, in our personal life, you know, and I'm pretty sure you have seen it too, you know, when we were kids, people expected us, all of us, to go to school, all of us to go to college, you know, get a 4-year degree. Then they wanted us all to, you know, get good paying jobs. Then they want you to get married, have kids. And then it's like they put a time limit on when you should do all these things. You should be doing this at a certain age. You should be doing that at a certain age. But I guess my question, you know, really is does it really matter, you know, that we have to put such an age limit or a time period on these expectations that people place on us? And I'm gonna let it pass to you. I'm gonna let you kind of join. I'm gonna have you join in on the conversation too about this.
Yeah. Does it really matter to me? No. But to society, absolutely. Like, you're right. There is a time for not just an age, but it's also like, okay, if you go to college, you got to graduate in 4 years. You know, that's the standard. That is the expectation. You know, if you date somebody, you got to date them for this amount of time before you can get engaged, or even in that amount of time, even in marriage, you got to wait this amount of time before having a child. Like, it's so amazing to me how it's so many expectations, but they just don't even make sense altogether. Like, when I was getting married, somebody, a mentor told me, and she was so right, that I was like, oh my God, she's right. When you are getting married, and I don't know how many of you all who are married experience this, but for me as a woman who was getting married, the question was like, okay, so, you know, now that you're getting married, when are you going to have kids? And it's just like an automatic thing, like marriage, kids. Some people who get married don't want kids. Some people who get married, you know, there are so many reasons why people may not have a child right away or at all, but that's for them to figure out. It's not for society to put that on them. But what she told me was, if you have a child within a certain time, one, they're gonna, after they've asked you, when are you having a child? If you have a child too soon, they're questioning, were they pregnant before they got married? If you have a child, you know, like, if you don't, it's like, you can't please anybody either way. On the one end, it's, oh, when you having a child? Then on the other end, when you do have a child, if it's too early, oh, was she pregnant before she even got married? Like, it's like from both sides, you're gonna hear something. It's never just gonna be okay for anything. There's always somebody's gonna have something to say about everything you do.
Right. And that's so true. Like, and I'm not married, but I've been in, you know, relationships where, you know, me and the other person have been, you know, together for a long time. They'll ask that question, you know, when you gonna pop that question, or when you gonna, as dudes like to say, when you gonna get that knee dirty? It's like, man, we just doing us. Like, you know, when we ready, you know. But it's like an expectation. Like, people expect, you know, after, you know, you be dating for 2 years, and you need to pop the question. Well, you know, you could be dating for 2 years or, you know, even longer, and still not be ready to make commitment, but not be ready to be married, because marriage comes with, you know, a lot of sacrifices. It comes with,
let me tell you.
and I know you can speak firsthand, you know, from this, you know, it comes with a lot of sacrifices. It comes to, you know, with, you know, a lot of things come into marriage. It's just not, you know, we get married. You know, you have to look at, you know, the financial part of it. You know, have to look at the personal and the spiritual. So you have to look at all these different factors before you can get, you know, decide to do that. And even I think even society has put a time limit on, for people who go to college of when you should, be successful.
Yep.
They expect you to, go to 4-year institutions and then automatically be successful, but it don't work like that always.
It does not. Oh my gosh.
It does
that,
not.
and that for me, that was an eye opener
right
coming out of college, because, in college, I feel like people are like, oh, Ashley, you're this and that, you'll be great. Number one, I didn't even pursue the field that I graduated in, even though I wanted to, but it was that hard to get into a job in that particular area, especially in the location I was in. So I came out with these expectations. I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna get this high paying job, it's gonna be awesome, and then I'm gonna do this and that. It didn't go that way at all, not at all. And I think it's based off society's expectation is why I even thought that, because that's what I see, or that's how people make it out to be. But did I get a reality check?
Yeah, I think me too, because just looking back at it, it was like, man, I did all this while I was in school. I'm gonna get a reporter job right off the back. And literally I graduated, and 2 weeks later I was still working at Ruby Tuesday. I didn't get a job. I did not get a reporter job fresh out of school, as many of you all did not know. I didn't get a job into the business until 3 months after I graduated, and it was in production and it was part-time. So that just shows you, it ain't all, what it cracks up to be just because you went to a 4-year institution. And I tell people all the time, who are going into my profession, I was like, the one thing I will not tell you, I won't sell you a false dream. I was like, it's not, what you might have, heard of. I was like, yeah, it may, you may end up being a lucky one and getting an on-air job fresh out of school. Yeah. But for the majority of us in this business, that does not happen. It just doesn't happen as, us getting an on-air job. And it's almost, for many of us, you have to start from scratch and work your way up. And that's one thing. When society put these expectations on you, they leave that part out. They don't tell you, well, you have to start, from, scratch to work your way up. They just tell you, oh yeah, you need to, after school, you need to get this good paying job. And a lot of these good paying jobs, people have been working for years and years. Yes. And that's why they're in that position. So it's not, I feel like society is always, trying to place expectations on, when you should be successful, when you should, be, I guess, married, or when you should, start your life. Because, and I don't know about you, with you being married, you maybe can speak to this, but I know, like, married couples that I have spoken to, like, the pressure, I think a lot of times for them from other people is the next thing is, when y'all gonna have kids. I don't know if you've gotten that.
Oh yeah. Everywhere I go, especially when there are people who are pregnant, and it's like everybody look to you and like, oh, you're next. When are you gonna have a child? It's like, hold on. Like, wait a minute. And I think the thing is, we don't realize that everybody's different. Everybody leads their journey in a certain way. Just like you were saying with your job, when I graduated, I started at Macy's for 6 months.
Right.
So I was working retail and thinking, I graduated 4.0 GPA, summa cum laude, and this is where I am. It's kind of just like, it was hard. It was a hard fact for me to face. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely enjoyed working there, interacting with people and all of that, but it still made me feel a certain type of way, especially because one day while I was working there, I saw one girl who went to school with me. I saw her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom came to my counter, obviously, I think intentional.
Right.
And she was just like, hey, how you doing? And, you know, telling me about the girl and all that. And that just made me sink even lower, because I'm like, well, this girl, she, you know, is working in her field and she's doing this. And where am I? Like, I'm at Macy's, you know,
Right.
obviously that was God's plan for me. So I don't regret anything that happened to get where I am today, because I'm truly blessed. But just to even get there, starting at Macy's for 6 months, and then after that, I got a temp job.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I got into my role was because of a temp job. And one, it was absolutely the best job ever. And because of that job I got here, and I know it's all because of God's grace, but just the expectation of me thinking, honestly, I saw my life in a totally different way. If you would have talked to me when I graduated college and said, and how do you think your life's gonna go? I would not have told you this. I would not have said Macy's. I would not have even said the industry I'm in now. Like I didn't see this for my life. I saw it going a totally different way, but I know, you know, obviously there's a purpose, but just because of those expectations.
Right. And
I just thought something different. And even with me married, because I'm so young, with me getting married, that was also a thing. Like, you have to be a certain age to get married. I mean, now obviously people, a lot of my friends and peers, they are getting married now. But when I was in it, from certain, and that's another thing, it depends on the side that's talking to you. Certain people, to their expectations, I was too young to get married.
Right.
To other people's expectations, they're like, you've been dating him for how long? Why haven't you got married? So it's like I said, once again, everybody has their own set of expectations. And then even society has a bigger set. And it's like, how do I measure all of this, you know?
Right. And that's so true, you know, and like I, you know, said before, um once I guess people expect, once you've been in a long, like, term relationship, that you supposed to, you know, get married at a certain time. And, you know, I have a lot of my friends that are also just getting married, and they were like, man, what's up with you? And it's like, hey man, I'm just out here grinding, you know. Hey, as it happens, it happens. I'm not in a rush. And it's like, you know, and I'm not saying it's nothing, you know, wrong for people who do get married, you know, at an early age, or even now. But marriage is a big commitment, and it's not something to be taken lightly. So that's one thing that, you know, me as a person, I don't want to enter into, you know, lightly, just because everyone else is getting married at a certain age. Then I said, you know, just go out, find somebody. Yeah, we getting married next year. Like, no. And then it don't work out. You know, you have to, you know, you have to be able to see things and experience things before you can, you know, be married. But I think society has, you know, and one thing about society that's messed it up is social media, because they have, you know, a lot of times they put out false realities of what is, or what they want people to believe, but in reality that ain't really how it is. You know, we see, you know, you see these relationship goals, but then you find out, you know, that
it's fake.
You know, it's not, you know, what, you know, is being perceived on social media. Even with, you know, career goals, and you know, people puts things out, but they live in a totally different life behind that, you know, that picture that you like on Instagram, that that comment or that post that they post on Facebook, you know, and then you respond to it. You know, they live in a totally different life, but because of how social media has played into society's expectations, and people, you know, putting things out to, you know, show their success. And people, I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm saying, you shouldn't, post, your success on social media, because I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, if you are doing that, there has to be a realness behind it. And
be authentic.
Yeah, be authentic. Don't be, fake, and don't be, phony, and be living a whole another life. And you want people to believe, because then you're buying in and you're selling like a false dream, which sometimes these expectations that society sell to us, they're nothing but false. They can sometimes be false, because it don't happen always like that. It doesn't. We think, or it's been displayed that we're supposed to be doing this at a certain age, but it's like, it's almost sometimes I question, like, how, who gives you the right to tell me I should be doing, I should be married at this age, I should have kids at this age, I should have this job at this age, when you're not living the life. So you're looking from the outside, and you're saying, right, oh, you should be doing this, but you're not living the life, so you don't know what I'm going through to be able to tell me that I should be living this certain lifestyle. Because we all, at the end of the day, we all go through trials and tribulation, and we all strive to be successful, but it doesn't happen overnight. Okay, what you say, you just don't wake up and be like, oh, I'm successful. No, it don't happen like that. It just don't. So this is my thing. Like, who are you to tell me that I should do this a certain way, and I need to be doing this by this age in order to be successful, when you're not living the life? I feel like I'm preaching now.
Yeah. Like, I agree. I think, number one, I want to answer your question with the question: who's setting the overall expectation?
Right.
Who is the president of expectations?
Exactly.
Because I need to find out, because they're getting these expectations for you from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like, is it from what they see, or is it things they wish they would have did, or regret they did, or is it that they want, what does it say? Misery loves company. Do they want you to go out and do this because they did it and they want you to see how it feels? Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I just want to sit down with the president of expectations, and I need to know, how are they set and when do they expire?
Right. I think it's a combination of all. I think it's, what people have seen, but I think it's also, what we have grown up to be accustomed to. Our parents, got, married at a certain, age, and, had kids at a certain age. And I think that, just because they did it that way, they expect, many parents expect their children to do it that way too. But we live in a different age and time, and not discrediting, the time that, they got married, or they had kids, or became successful in. But this is a very different age and time, where things are very fast paced and very fast moving. And if you do things the wrong way, then it's harder to correct those mistakes. And
I agree.
Yeah, so I just think it just comes down to, what people have seen, and what has been displayed through different avenues. But I think that's kind of how sometimes expectations can be forced on many millennials and many young adults now, and make it hard and make it stressful. But at the end of the day, you have to live that life, and you have to walk. You have to walk that walk. But with that, I think you should make your own expectations, and make your own path and your own plan, and try to at least follow it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think you should allow other people to make those expectations for you, just because they're seeing a certain thing, or they're accustomed to a certain thing.
Yeah, I for one completely agree to that. I think it's absolutely fine for you to set your own expectations. You be the president of your expectations. You
Right.
say, you know, at this age, this is what I want to do. Or another thing, because sometimes we don't know, not sometimes, in all things, we don't know what's going to happen. So, what we should do is just say, I'm going to do the very best that I can, because I think even sometimes when we set our own expectations based off the expectations of our parents, of society, of little Pookie down the street, whatever,
Right.
I think when that happens, we put a lot of pressure on our own selves with our own expectations. Like, I have to do this by this time. And if that doesn't happen, then now I am depressed, or now I am, either going through my own situation because I didn't get to set or meet that expectation. I think sometimes we should set an idea, an area, and a goal. But if that doesn't happen, I think we should still celebrate what we did get to. So
Right.
if we get to age 27 and we still don't have a house or an apartment of our own, just be glad that we have a job, or celebrate the success that, we're still in good health, or whatever it is. I think we should take that and not so much the pressures. Because one thing you said earlier about, what if we just do it? What if we just follow expectations that everybody set for us? If I walk down that path, so what if you got married because somebody told you you need to get married, and that person wasn't somebody you needed to be with?
Right.
Then what's going to happen? Are you going to have this horrible marriage, or are you going to get a divorce? Or like what could happen if you marry the wrong person? Or what could happen if you have a child because somebody told you that you need to have a child? Now you're stressed out because you was not mentally prepared for a child, or like whatever the reason, child or not, or what have you got in this relationship because expectations and everybody else said you need to be in a relationship at this age, or you need to have this car at a certain age, or an apartment. You get it now, you can't afford it, now you're back at home. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think overall, if we follow the expectations everybody else set for us, we're not gonna be happy, because we're doing what everybody else said. We're pleasing everybody else and not ourselves, and that's the most important. Pleasing ourselves and also pleasing God. The expectations God set for you should be the number one thing, and then also pleasing yourself.
Right. That's so true. And I think you said something that's very important. You got to celebrate the small stuff. You might not have a job that you want, but if you're in the profession, if you're in the door, celebrate that. Because a lot of people ain't even at the door, ain't even at at the doorbell. So celebrate that. You might not even be at the door, but you're still alive, you still got a job, you still got a place to live. That's something to celebrate, because I've seen, or I pass by just about every day, people who are on the side of the street, having a sign saying, I need somewhere to stay, I need somewhere to eat, and it's a blessing to have a roof over your head. It's a blessing to have food in your refrigerator, to eat. And just celebrate the things that you have done, and the other stuff will come in order. I think when we focus on what people expect from us, then we lose focus on the blessings that we have in front of our face at the very moment. So you have to celebrate what you have right now. I'm grateful that I have a house. I'm grateful that I have a job, because somebody didn't have a job. Even you should be grateful that you have breath in your body, because somebody didn't wake up. Somebody died. Or you grateful that you have the activity of your limbs, because somebody is recovering from from something, or battling with something and can't walk, or can't do for themselves. So I think you have to celebrate those small things in order to appreciate when the big things happen. And you can't let people put so many expectations on you, in order to, be, for them to see you as successful, because success comes in so many different ways, and
so many.
It doesn't always go the straight and narrow path that we think it is, but it comes in so many ways. So you have to be grateful and appreciate the small things, that you have. Because I pray every day, Lord, hey, thank you, just for, waking up, thank you for, allowing me to, still have an impact on at least one person's life a day, so it's not, always about the big picture and what people expect from you. You have to celebrate, those things, the small things, to appreciate, in order to appreciate the big things. And you also still have to put, have your own expectations, and, be willing to, try to follow your steps, but also be willing to be flexible. And if they done go a certain way, then you just go at the way that God is moving you. Because sometimes, even when we do set, expectation for ourselves, they don't go the exact way that we think, they should go. God takes us in a different direction and a different path. I think a popular verse that, a lot of us, recite is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I've set for you, declares the Lord, plans for good, not for evil. And with that, you have to understand that sometimes when he says he knows the plans to set for you, it's not always the way that we want it. Sometimes we have to go through certain things. Sometimes we have to, take routes in order to get there. Or sometimes we put things in our own way to, block, and he has to put us back on track. So, you can't, even with us setting our own expectations, you have to, understand that it might not go always as planned. It might not, work out, the way we think it's supposed to work out. But we just have to trust and believe that it's gonna happen, and just have faith that or something better is gonna come, and allow us to be, in order to be successful.
Yeah. Honestly, Courtney, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And as you were talking, like I thought about just living the model that we have, young, bold, and free.
Right.
Be young and be okay with where you are in your life. Enjoy it. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Live it how you want to live it. Right. And then be bold enough to set your own expectations. Right. This is what I want for myself at this point in time. No matter what anybody else say, this is what I want.
Exactly.
But then be free enough to let go of everybody else's opinions, free in your own thought process, and just live it how you want to do it. I think we are oftentimes in the bondage of everybody else's opinions. Everybody else's.
That's something right there.
Whatever. And sometimes we have to get the key, and we have to break it, because if we don't, we're gonna constantly be in this cycle of, oh well, I didn't make it to this age that I should have done it, and now I'm embarrassed, or now I'm feeling down, or I don't feel good about myself, and don't do that. Free yourself from everybody else's bondage and focus on you and what you need and what you need to make it happen.
Right.
That's what I say.
Ooh, we can raise an offer. Right, the doors of the church are open.
Hey.
I mean, literally, you took everything that I had thought about saying. You took it right out. So, hey, everything.
So sorry, I didn't mean to take your word.
No, it was totally fine. I was like, when you said that abundance thing, I was like, woo. I said, I felt that in the spirit right there. But yes. But I think after that we can conclude. But with this episode, we definitely want to hear from you all. So please, if you can, comment on our page, on our Instagram, and on our Facebook page, because we want to hear, how you feel about expectations and
Yes.
expectations that, people have placed on you and how you handle them. So we definitely want to continue this conversation, because like we has talked about, this is probably going to be something that we can kind of continue in for maybe future episodes. But definitely, leave a comment, about, expectations, that you have seen or you have been faced with. And we definitely want to, continue to hear from you. Definitely, on this topic, because it's definitely an important topic, especially for, our young adults and our millennials.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Courtney. We want to hear from y'all. Let us know your stories. I think everybody's got a story,
right,
on expectations, or that you have an opinion to make, and we want to hear it. So make sure you share on Instagram or on Facebook. Right. Just let us know how you feel about expectations, or, are you setting expectations for yourself? Whatever you got, we want to hear it.
Exactly. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Woo! Let's get to the end of the show. Getting to the end of the show.
Yes. We get into the end, Courtney. I think it's time for us to have another moment. So last week we were living young, but I think today we're gonna try something different.
Yeah, we gonna be bold. The be bold moment, and I thought about this. And when you asked me to do it, I thought about a particular situation that happened when I was in high school. When I was in high school, my freshman year, we were reading a book called, and I'm pretty sure most of us have all read this book. It's called To Kill a Mockingbird. And
yes,
we know how To Kill a Mockingbird is. If you live in the South, you pretty much know the story of To Kill a Mockingbird and the ending of it. But the basis of it is a story about segregation, and in the book, the N word is talked about very, very a lot, and it's referenced in the book. So my teacher, who is not African American, while reading the book, she would say the N word in class. And the first time she did it, it was alarming to me, but I didn't know, how to address it. So she kept doing it. And one day, in class, and I wasn't the only Black African American student in class, but I felt, led to say something because it was starting to, bother and offend me. So I raised my hand before she started reading. And I asked her, I was like, can you please, not say that word? It's very, offensive, to me, to see my teacher say the N word. Even reading a book of that magnitude, to other, students in the class who are, not Black and African American. And I was like, it's just very uncomfortable. And her response was, I'm going to continue to say it because it's not, or I'm going to continue to read it this way because that was just a certain time, and that was just a certain way they did things. So I'm sorry that it offends you, but it's just it's just the way how this book is made. So I'm going to continue to read it. Truth be told, nothing. I was upset and nothing happened in that instance. But looking back at it, I was glad that I was bold enough, in the classroom to at least say something, because I had other African American, other Black friends that were in the classroom who didn't say anything, but they probably still felt the same way. So I was bold enough to be like, that's not right, for you. And I got a lot of flack for it, a lot of my classmates, a lot of people, like, why, like, did you do that? And I was like, because I felt uncomfortable. And, as, a Black African American student, for my teacher to be reading a novel that has the N word in it, I feel like that was inappropriate, and I had to say something because I felt like if I didn't say something, then that would, be giving her the okay for her to continue to say that. So in that instance, I felt, it was it was it was necessary for me to be bold. So it I feel like for us, there are moments where, they are uncomfortable, but they're necessary for us to be bold and for us to speak up and for us to let people know that, things are not right. And sometimes, things don't change, but we have to be bold enough to, voice and be like, that's not right. You know, and regardless if something does change or it doesn't change, you being bold, that shows that you don't stand for that, and that you are against that, and that you could, and very well you could be speaking for, other people who are against that as well. And I just think about, even now we've lost so many bold people in just the past few weeks. Here in Shreveport, one of the boldest people I have ever interviewed, and probably the boldest civil rights icon here in Shreveport, Dr. Harry Blake, who, fought beside Dr. Martin Luther King and Dr. C.L. Simpkin here in Shreveport, passed away 2 weeks ago. And that was, that was something that, really hit us all hard, because we all know Dr. Blake. And I actually got a chance to meet him last December at Dr. C.L. Simpkins' funeral. He actually did the eulogy, and I actually got a chance to interview him and meet him. And he was just a funny, hilarious guy, but lived during a time where being bold, could very well cost you your life. And he was very bold. And at one point, it almost did cost him his life. He was struck in the head, and he, had to be, taken care of back in the 1960s having for literally having a it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a protest, but it was a service dedicated to the bombing at 16th Street Baptist Church. And they did something here in Shreveport, and his life was almost taken for doing something of that magnitude here in Shreveport. And like, just that boldness, to stand up for, justice, even when it could cost your life, justice, something that always has, like really stuck with me. And, actually, I'm pretty sure in our church where we have lost so many bold people, Bishop P.A. Brooks, another bold person, a bold person for holiness, we just lost, Bishop Wells, Mother Sheard. But I think one that really hits home for us, that we've grown up our whole life knowing, is Pastor Emeritus N.J. Stanley Jr. And just him being, I've grown up, I've known him my whole entire life, from him and my grandfather being friends, them, holding services at each other's churches, doing revivals, doing, different, type of events together, and being, on the same district. And also another bold person, for things that was right, and for holiness. And, to lose him on this past weekend, really, really, just really just kind of, it hit me in a spot that, I was like, man, like, wow. Because like people like those, like when you look at people who, stood up for things that were right, and stood up for, holiness, and, stood up for, justice, and, still, even in doing that, still were people of integrity, still were people who were kind. It's just it's those people always will have a lasting impact, in our nation, in our world, in our community. So, I'm just so grateful. And we talked about this, but we want to, dedicate this episode to Pastor Emeritus N.J. Stanley Jr. And, we have a personal connection with Pastor Emeritus Stanley's son, Pastor Gregory Stanley, and First Lady Renee. they're, really close friends to us. Pastor Stanley is a big brother to me, and close friends with you as well. So, we want to continue to keep them lifted in your prayers, but we definitely wanted to, dedicate this episode to his memory, and definitely, want to appreciate them or Pastor, Stanley for, being a bold person, and many others who we have lost recently for being bold people and setting the example that we need to see in society. And I'm going to end with this. It's so easy to be a part of the status quo and to be comfortable and to just go with the flow and, not speak up when things are not going right. But it's hard to be bold, but it's necessary. So I'm going to leave with that. It's so hard to be bold, but it's so necessary, in this day and time, that we be bold and we speak up about things that are not right and things that should be done in our community. So that's the Be Bold moment this week. And we continue to pray for the Stanley family, but we definitely want to send our thoughts and love to them and dedicate this episode to them.
Yeah, we love you so much, and we are definitely praying for you and your entire family.
yes, definitely. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for episode number 2. And I know we got 2 in our belt now. So, man, this has been a good one. We hope you all come back for episode number 3, which should be out coming soon near you.
Yeah. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, just in case you forgot when I said earlier. And
right. Go like us. Go. In fact, as soon as this episode go off, go do it right afterwards.
Right
now. I want to thank y'all again, and we hope you all have a great, rest of the week and a, blessed day whenever you all are watching this. And we hope that you are most of all, please continue to be safe out here. So much going on. Please continue to be safe. Whatever you do, whatever your state is doing, please just continue to be safe, because we don't want anyone to be hurt.
Nope, not at all. Be blessed. Be safe. Blessed. Be bold.
right. And live young. Free yourself and be bold. Yeah. Young, bold, and free. We're out. Golden free. Can't nobody stop me.